And welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to first Saturday of the period team-wide meeting. We're glad you're here. For those of you that stayed over from the Saturday morning new distributor training, you already got the word. We're going to cover a few things here this morning, but I'm going to have with me Reid Nelson, one of our top distributors and certainly, a legend in the industry of network marketing, joining me. We're going to go through a few announcements and then give you a focus for the next 28 days, the most important period in Zeja's history. And I'm declaring that right now because I know what's about to happen. Let me grab Reid to join me here. Reid, I'm going to bring you over to this side of the broadcast. And let's see here. And there we go. And I'm going to unmute Reid. There we go. Mr. Nelson, welcome.
Good morning.
How are you, sir?
Excellent.
Always good to have you participate with us, Reid. I was singing your praises here earlier this morning, and I'm just going to do it one more time. Reid Nelson is somebody that, I've been aware of in the industry for many, many years. Reid and his wife, Yvonne, have built, numerous organizations. He's not one of those guys that goes from one company to another, to another, to another. I believe you were with your last company, what, 20 plus years, Reid?
Yeah, 25 years. Yep.
25 years. And honestly, when people like myself and Pat Andersen and David Moses talk, Reid buries us in terms of experience and tenure and industry experience and income, and it's always such a privilege to have you with us, Reid. And as a matter of fact, a lot of the people that participate both during these meetings live, and we usually have like probably 20% of the people see it live and 80% of it see it on the recording. This is a great opportunity to hear from you, Reid. We got a new announcement. I'm sure you've got it as well. The company has opened up all of our solution bundles to a brand new distributor at the discounted price. We all knew that there was a solution bundle every period that was a special. Now all of them are open for all new distributors. There was a time frame on that. Do you recall what that was, Reid?
I think it was some period to the end of March 27th or something like that.
For the first quarter. But to me, the minute I saw that opened up a perfect starting path for a brand new distributor. Do you want to start at, the 250 PV level, 500 PV, 1000 PV? Pick a number of bundles. And what it does is it allows somebody who maybe can start, with the Builder Pro system level, get a few bundles. Now they can experience lots and lots of different products. They'll have a wide range of products to talk about, and of course, some samples to be able to pass out. Give me some thoughts on some of your thoughts on this, incredible opportunity to have all bundles available for a brand new person.
Well, I think it's awesome. When you start somebody in the business, especially in the business part of it, we always recommend that there's always a couple of things they're super interested in, it seems like. In like the Moringa Super Mix, of course. They're not interested in that. They're crazy. So Super Mix, and then maybe the CBD. So if they're interested in those things, maybe the nutrition bundle and the energy bundle, put them together. That's a great start. It's not a lot of money. We're not asking people to come in with $1,000 or anything like that. But a couple of bundles of the things they're very interested in would be an excellent way to get started. And at $150 and 150 points, I mean, they get a whole lot better than that. It's extremely duplicatable, down to the smallest level. It's very duplicatable. And when we're looking at building a business, that's really the word of the moment is duplication. So that can be duplicated. If they can only afford one, awesome. If they can't afford one of those, get them a box of Super Mix, give them something, but those are that is an awesome deal. So you need to run at that really hard.
And it's interesting that you're kind of reiterating some of the things. We had some questions right at the end of the previous session. What do you do with somebody that doesn't have the money today, wants to save up for a bigger package? How do you get somebody started? that's answering all those questions, especially in today's Egypt. Now, you've experienced this where in a lot of companies to build momentum, especially in the early days, starting with larger packages was a big deal because why? It created more volume per person that came in. In
Sure.
today's Egypt, our whole formula has really nothing to do with creating massive volume in the beginning as much as creating well-established centered distributors. I mean, would you agree with that?
Absolutely. I mean, I don't really, a one-time 1,000-point order and then nothing from then on is no big deal. What we want. We certainly want a good, decent order for whatever that person wants to do, and then auto ship for the rest of their life. That's what we want.
Yeah.
So it's somebody's on a 75-point auto ship for a gazillion years, and you get 100 of those. That's awesome. So that's what we're looking for.
And it's interesting you say that because Pat Andersen is one of those people that has always been focused on customer attention.
Absolutely.
And she's built one of the most stable organizations because of that, that reoccurring income that you're talking about. Yeah, it does nobody any good for somebody to buy $1,000 worth of product today and we never see another order from them.
Correct. Absolutely.
Now, we're at this point in time, Reid, and I want to kind of focus on, the issues of, a team focus for the next 28 days. By the way, I just noticed in the chat box, one of your team members, Mary Jovner, is your team is so on the money here. She right away popped up. March 27th is the time frame. He's got it. And see, I know Reid well enough to know he's going to appreciate this. Our team members make us look really good.
Yeah, oh, absolutely. No doubt.
But yeah, so with an eye towards, the next 28 days, first period of the year, in my opinion, most significant year ever in Zija. What kind of focus, what kind of, tidbits would you suggest to the team that would be the correct focus for the next 28 days?
Well, I posted something yesterday that just said, go and do. A great man, not necessarily related to me, his last name is Nelson, by the way, said his whole 3 words for the year were go and do, and it doesn't get any clearer or simpler than that. Just go and do, everything you've been afraid to do, step out of your comfort zone and go do it. A lot of people, of course, we're probably preaching to the choir in a call like this, but it's like, I would venture to say that 85 to 90% of the people who are in Zija or in our organizations haven't even set a goal yet. And first things first, it's January the 4th, just because it's the New Year's Day has slipped by us. What are your goals for the year? What do you want to do from an income point of view, from a pin rank point of view, from a family point, all the different elements of your life? What do you want to do this year? And then of course, what are you willing to do to get there? Those are the things that I'd be thinking of, and then of course go and do. That means start right now. I was sitting there this morning. I was talking to Pat Andersen. Pat, I see her there. I'm not a coffee drinker, so I've got a clue anything about this, and nor am I going to. So it doesn't really make any difference to me. But everybody around me does. I have 4 neighbors right around me in a little cul-de-sac here, and every one of them is a coffee drinker. And this morning I went out and gave them each one of these. Are you guys coffee drinkers? Yeah, great. I want you to try some of these. Tell me what you think. That was as simple as that. Told them what to do with them, gave them away, the start of my day. And so it's like, okay, somebody says, well, how do you talk to 1 or 2 people a day? Grab something like that. Of course, you don't have it yet, most of you. So, so you can't do that. But grab something you can do and go out and give it to one of your neighbors. Go out and talk to someone. Anybody. You know what? It doesn't take much. We just have to go out the door and do more than we did before. Got to do more.
And it's so interesting because I know when you folks first started in the industry, you had to go through the learning process as well, the trial and error, and figure out, how to do it. I don't recall from your story whether you had the opportunities like I did to initially work with $1 million earner. That's what Jim Rohn calls, most people, education is called PE, personal experience. Great way to learn. Problem is, takes a lifetime to learn everything. What's better is OPE, other people's experience.
That's right.
But you know, when you folks have learned, and it's what you're talking about right now. What are the keys? What separates, you know, me, Fred Holmes truck driver, from me, Fred Holmes, you know, multi-million-dollar earner? What separates you and Yvonne from, you know, who you were to where you are today, 40 plus years in the industry, and with the time freedom and the lifestyle that you've created? It's a willing to do the deal every day and not quit. Number two,
Yeah,
right?
that's right.
Consistency and persistency.
Yeah, a friend of mine once said, you know, he talked about three things: get in, stay in, and never quit. I said, well, that's only part of it. What do you mean? I said, you get in, stay in, never quit, and do the work.
And do the work.
If you never quit and don't do anything, nothing's ever going to happen anyway. You know,
Be a
so we
great
got,
customer.
what's that?
They'd be a great customer, right?
That'd be a great customer, which is fine, by the way. I have no problem with that. Well, zillions of those people, and we have zillions of those people. But, you know, to me, and when we say the willingness, you say, what is the difference? What makes us different or somebody else different? What makes Pat Andersen different than anybody else? Well, it's the willingness to pay the price. But when we say that, it sounds like it's a big negative, hard, overbearing, unbelievable price. It really isn't. It's just doing the work every day, those little tiny things every day, every day, every day, and never stopping and having a great attitude and, you know, just persevering. It also sounds like, oh my gosh, it's going to be so hard. Nothing we do is hard. It's not easy, but it's very simple,
Yeah.
you know, and nothing we do is difficult. It's a matter of the hardest thing to overcome is us, ourselves, our mind. That's the biggest part of this whole deal is overcoming ourselves. And we all have to do that, every one of us.
You know, one of my very first mentors, and to this day, I still listen to him to pick up things to help refocus myself. He said, you know, he shared it this way. He says, everybody's got to work hard. Okay. Everybody's got to work hard. So as long as you're going to have to work hard anyway, why not do it for a little while and get it over and done with? And I bought that one hook, line, and sinker, and I'm here. Now, we've got some specific things coming up here over the next 30, 60, 90 days. We've got a major event happening on the 11th, and it's going to be happening in many people's living rooms around North America and in Europe. It's going to be happening, you know, in hotel venues and that sort of thing. We've got a little bit of time. We've got a week to prepare for that. What would you recommend for the team members to take advantage of that? It's going to be a huge event because it's going to basically set up Zija for the balance of the year.
Right. Well, you know, if you're having an in-home, like we're having an in-home here at our house, we've already invited quite a few people. We've got some people who said yes, they would come, and we're going to continue to invite a few more. So I would continue to invite new people, and the key of all of it is follow up, follow up, and follow up. You know, if somebody said they're coming, call them up. Hey, listen, just a reminder, we're doing that thing here at our home at 11 o'clock, and we're going to start right on time. So really, you're going to really enjoy it. We're going to have a great time, and looking forward to seeing you. You know, make those calls, because, you know, count on it. Somebody who said they're going to come isn't coming. You know, that's just the way it is, okay? But if you do a great job of following up, most of them will still come, you know? But it's, don't invite them once and they said, yes, awesome, expect them to show up. You know, it's not necessarily a priority to them yet. Might be at some point, but maybe not yet until they're really, wow, this is awesome. You know, are they totally committed to anything? You know, so it's really important to follow up with people, continue to invite new ones, and follow up the ones with them, of course, and with the ones you've already invited. So to have a successful meeting, do that, please.
You know, and that makes so much sense to me because in my mind, I've always thought it this way because it was something that was shared with me very early on. Your prospect at best might be 10% as excited about what they're going to see as you are. And that's because we already know. Now, we don't know exactly what's going to happen, but those of us that are involved in Zija and been actively engaged in what's going on, we know we've got new product introductions. We're going to, maybe hear about some new compensation plan enhancements, but it's all about being in the very beginning, having the information we need to parlay into this first quarter of the year. Your prospect doesn't know any of that because it's never been exposed to it. They can only be 10% as excited about being there as you. The follow-up, the other thing is, your people, your prospects are only going to take you as serious as you take yourself.
Well, yeah, absolutely. And it's, you know, um, I was on an audio cassette tape one time, and somebody asked me how important follow-up was. I said, well, it's not important at all. It's critical. So many people, me included, it always feels good when somebody says yes to you, no matter what the situation. If it's yes, I'll watch your information or whatever it might be. It's a victory, right? And then we don't call them back. It's like the victory was getting them to say yes. Then it's no more. Oh, man, felt so good. Well, without follow-up, this whole thing just disappears.
So a week from now, we've got the big event. That'll be the beginning of cycle 2. We're going to have cycle 2, cycle 3, and cycle 4 left in this period. What would be the best strategies for our distributors to take advantage of those announcements and new product introductions come a week from now?
Well, there again, it's just a matter of talking to people. The way to take advantage of growth in anything in our business is to go talk to somebody new. This whole thing is all about a new person. Every day, a new person. It's introduction, it's follow-up, it's introduction, it's follow-up, it's introduction. Excuse me. So it's those things over and over again, And so to take advantage of that, number one, don't forget, if you're not having an event of your own, make sure you get to one, okay, for sure. Take somebody with you. Do not go by yourself, right? For sure. And then from that point, I'll follow up with them and then go out the door and do more. It's just always do more of the basic little things. If you're going to have a great month, it began a couple weeks ago. Right? Didn't start today, but if you haven't done anything yet, well, it starts today. That's fine. But don't drop the ball. Don't talk to somebody don't wait till Friday to invite somebody for Saturday. They're not coming.
Not going to come.
It just doesn't happen that way. Our life, the world is too busy. So get on the horn today. Sunday, Monday, whatever you got to do to get people to go with you or to have, at your home, whatever you're doing. If you're in an area where they're having a big meeting, do that, whatever. But just make sure that you do a whole bunch between now and then, and afterwards you're doing all the follow-up plus adding more to that, more and more and more and more.
And I've got one little strategy that I'll share that that I've kind of focused on is I've been developing a list here for actually over a week of people that I spoke to about the opportunity, over this past year, over the past 10 years, that were really the kind of people I would want to have in my business, but for whatever reason, they didn't see it. And they're on my list to go talk to about my brand new products. Oh, look at you. Holy cow.
That's the list. These are the lists. Triple. The new people list, the list of the follow-up list, because if they don't say yes, they go to another list. So I got my initial contact list, right? I've got my follow-up list. I got my drip list. The drip list is where they go when they said no, and they're just showing interest, but they didn't say get out of my life, right? So they go onto a drip list, and I don't bug them, but about once a month I just pop them, hello, how you doing? I never let anybody go unless they say just stop. Then I will. But till then,
my number, don't call me again, right?
Exactly. But you don't hear that very much. People are saying no because they don't even know why they're saying no. They're not interested for whatever reason. That's fine. But you know what? At some point, and we've talked about this before, everybody's life changes about every 6 months. Something happens.
Yeah.
Good, bad, whatever it is, something happens. The guy had a great career going, and all of a sudden he's out of work. We hear that story all the time. Something happens health-wise. Something great happens. Things are going great. Oh, that's awesome. I can afford to do that now, where I couldn't before. Well, okay. Never let anybody go, ever, unless you just don't want them. That's fine.
Well, and that kind of brings up another topic is sometimes we need to be a little bit more selective, kind of like, if you were responsible for hiring 10 people, paying them $100,000 a year, would you have actually prospected that person you just prospected?
Probably not.
Sometimes not, right?
Sometimes not. That's right.
Sometimes not. One last thing, and then we'll kind of wrap this up. We are going to have an incredible opportunity with these new product introductions. What would you suggest for our distributors to take advantage of those? Because people can order them at those events, correct?
Right. Yes.
Do we know how long it'll be before the people that don't attend the events will be able to order them?
It'll be only a week or so later, they tell us, but
Okay.
which is fine. But you know what? That means they'll get their products 2 weeks later. You know, and this year they haven't really told us that much yet about. But they've got this. We've got the meal replacement, which, by the way, the best way to explain that is your personal testimony.
Yeah.
For sure. I've been on I've had the meal replacement every day this last week. Love it. Awesome. Tastes great. And it's wonderful. I'm not going to do this one, but I know a lot of people that will. And their testimony is going to be very strong for me. I can use somebody else's testimony. It's okay. And so, yeah, it's not going to be very long before they can order, but, if they're going to get a special deal for being there, take advantage of it. For heaven's sakes, it just makes sense.
More reason to load up the car, drive however far you got to drive, book yourself to, there'll be people that are booking hotel rooms on Friday night so they can be at the venue on Saturday.
Brad, one quick thing here.
Yeah.
The one thing that gets me is that I'll just wait till it comes out in a week or so, and I'll get into it. When do you want your business to happen? We have to build with urgency. That's another difference between people that do and people that don't. Is all just wait. There's a better time for me later. No, there isn't. No. Do it now. Do it now. Go and do now. Right? And so, I don't want to wait for 2 weeks to get my product. If I can order it then, they say that those who order on Saturday will get their product shipped out by Wednesday. And so I want it sooner than later so I can start having other people experience and do things. So be excited about your future, and putting it off doesn't. Now, obviously, there are people that can't afford it. I got it. I understand it. I know it. Been there. It's not a great situation. However, if that's not you, then that's just an excuse, right? And so don't make an excuse to fail. Don't make an excuse to get started. Get started now. And as soon as you can get this in your hands, the sooner you can be out the door talking about it. So anyway.
I just saw Pat Andersen mention. I'm going to bring her on right now, but Reid, would you do me a favor while I'm bringing Pat over, because I've been so impressed with the different trainings you've done. And I think in particular the one that motivated me to finally get around and buying this book.
Oh, yeah.
You really have a wealth of knowledge of materials that help distributors. If you could pick one book that you would recommend to a new distributor to start reading right now to prepare them for the growth we're going to have this year, what would that be?
The Magic of Thinking Big.
Magic of Thinking Big.
David Schwartz, Dr. David Schwartz. First book I ever read back in 1973-ish, 74-ish, somewhere back in there, was the first book that ever told me I could do whatever I put my mind to do. Magic of Thinking Big.
And folks, if you noticed, I wrote it down. There's a clue there. And Reid, I sure appreciate you. Want to stand by for a minute? Let's bring Pat on.
Sure, absolutely.
All right, we'll bring Pat on. This is such a joy for me to be able to be participating in a team meeting with people like Pat Andersen and Reid Nelson at my side. Hey, Pat, how are you?
Good, still in the workout clothes.
Hello, my sponsor.
You're looking good, Pat.
I'm feeling good, doing lots of workout.
Excellent. Well, Reid has been supporting me here with our team meeting, giving some great valuable ideas on what to do for the next 28 days. We only got a few minutes left for this segment, but maybe you can share with the folks what you would say to any one of the team members. We got a lot of people on the call that aren't necessarily part of your organization or Reid's or mine. We welcome everybody because we want all of ZJA to be successful. Could you maybe highlight one or two things that you'd like to impart to all the team for the next 28 days?
I think the top priority is look at who you sponsored in the last month. we had a lot of promotions where we brought a lot of new people on board. Uh-huh. And I really think that you need to build them. Okay, go back to them and say, hey, we now have our bundles that are only $150, right? For new people they can switch over to become a distributor and take advantage of that. And then go after your Premier 20 and 40, Elite 40, with all those people that you brought on over the last month. Don't forget about them. And I know, Reid, you talked about, bring people on, we don't do much with them. That's been a big problem in ZJ Nation, I think. Okay, and everybody's guilty of it. We bring people on and then they love the product and we just kind of leave them alone because they love the product. We need to spend the time now more than ever to go after them and say, hey, would you like to be my partner? Would you like to build? And that's what I'm going to be doing over this next couple of weeks. And in fact, I already started doing the last couple of days, is seeing who wants to really join me this year and make a difference.
That's awesome. It kind of parlays on something I was talking with Reid about. I've been putting together a list of all the people that I spoke with over the years. I mean, it's now been 12 years I've been with ZJ, that didn't join for whatever reason, but they were the ones I wanted. And I think that's something you were talking about.
Yeah.
Focus on who do you want?
Mm-hmm.
Because there's a lot of people out there that maybe just based upon what we've seen them do in the past in their life, we don't necessarily want them, right?
Right. But I'm really going after I brought in a bunch of customers, et cetera, during the promotions.
Mm-hmm.
I know they like the product because I did my proper customer service and they're enjoying it. So now maybe is a time that I can upgrade them to a distributor and help them get their product paid for.
Excellent. Now, Pat, I know that, you're part of the distributor advisory board, which is, a great blessing to all of us. I mean, that's a lot of time and energy you put in on behalf of all of ZJ. You get no extra pay for it or anything. You don't get anything for it other than helping us. And it takes time away from you building your business.
Or golfing. Okay.
Or golfing. Fair enough. Maybe from that perspective, having, I'm not asking you to share anything. I'm not asking you to share anything that you can't share with us.
Mm-hmm.
But what can you kind of give us a feel for what we're in store for let's say the next 90 days with ZJ?
Every time that I've been on one of your calls, what do I talk about? I talk about Premier 20 and Elite 40. That's all I talk about. So that's a big clue. You need to be one of those two things. There are going to be enhancements to the comp plan, and those enhancements aren't just for diamonds and above. Those enhancements are going to be for Premier 20 and 40. So you're going to want to be able to take advantage of that. And what does it take to get there? I'm going to be a broken record again. Okay? Find 2 people this week. And what are you going to do? You're going to help them become Builder 500 or Builder 1000. Premier 20, Elite 40. That's simple. Your whole focus is on those 2 people. Or at least, what do we talk, Reid? 80 to 90% is going to be on those 2 people. 10% is going to be on the rest.
Absolutely.
Okay? And if all you did was that every single month, your business is going to explode because you're going to teach those people the correct activities to be doing with their people. So that's a big clue because that's what's coming down the pike. You need to be either one of those 2 things.
And I'm thinking in my head, one of the characteristics that separated me from most people when I first started in business, when my upline said, you need to do this, all I cared about was how. Okay. I never asked why. And I'm just imagining, okay, Pat's giving some insider information here. You got to be, Premier 20 or Elite 40. Why? What's going to happen? Don't ask why. Just do it.
Go and do.
Go and do. That's the other thing I wrote down from go and do. It's more simple than my favorite 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. It's 1, 2. Hey, you guys, listen, I appreciate you so much joining us for this. We're at the bottom of the hour. That was our allotted time. It's always great being able to hang out with you guys. I wish I could hang out with you more. I'll let you go. Thank you, guys.
Thanks,
you.
everyone. Happy New Year.
Happy 2020.
2020. All right, team, I'll be posting this here shortly on the YouTube channel, so you'll be able to pass it on to the rest of your team members. Thanks for joining us. Have a great rest of your weekend.
Bye-bye.
See you guys.